Leo Vance felt the familiar throb in his ribs, a percussive reminder of his employer's recklessness. For Damien Thorne, a mistake meant a thrill. For Leo, it meant a beating from the old man. Tonight, he was done. He strode into Damien's penthouse, the sterile white walls and brutalist art a cold backdrop to his fury. He showed Damien the galaxy of bruises blooming across his torso, a testament to years of misplaced punishment, hoping the sight might ignite some flicker of loyalty in the younger man. Damien's gaze darkened, a rare seriousness settling over his sculpted features. His voice was a low rasp when he finally spoke, informing Leo that if he became his, truly his, the beatings would stop. Leo was out the door before the words fully registered, not even bothering with a shirt. The idea of belonging to Damien Thorne was a terrifying concept. Whispers followed Damien through the gilded halls of New York's elite, tales of a private, brutal world. Men were said to leave his chambers broken, their screams echoing in the soundproofed walls. Yet, since Damien had requisitioned Leo from his father's service, those doors had remained closed to everyone else. Still, a primal fear of Damien was etched into Leo's bones. Damien was a man who courted death, finding ecstasy in street racing, base jumping, and bare-knuckle brawls. That was his prerogative. What was truly unsettling was the glint in his eyes as he watched others meet disaster. The more mangled the wreckage, the more feverish Damien's excitement became. And when Leo was being disciplined for failing to contain him, Damien would watch, his stare fixed on the welts rising on Leo's back, a dark current swirling in his eyes. Leo understood now it was raw, predatory desire. He ran, his bare feet slapping against the marble floors, not stopping until he reached the wing of the estate where the patriarch, Arthur Thorne, resided. He couldn't be caught by that devil again. He told the old man he was done, that he was quitting the job. Arthur's gaze swept over him, calculating and cold, before he asked if Leo was certain. Leo gave a firm nod. He couldn't do it. Being the object of Damien's attention was a death sentence. One day, Damien's whim would turn, and he would find himself drugged and broken. He was a bodyguard, not a plaything. Knowing Damien wanted him, running was the only sane option. He couldn't fight the Thorns, a dynasty that owned this city. If Damien took him, he'd have to swallow the pain and blood. But he could disappear. There were plenty of beautiful people in the world. Damien would find a new fixation and forget the bodyguard who vanished. Arthur watched him with an unreadable expression, then spoke of Damien's childhood. He mentioned a bitter conflict with Damien's mother, a period of neglect where neither parent noticed the darkness taking root in their son. By the time they reconciled, the damage was done. Damien's mind was no longer right. Leo was confused, wondering what any of this had to do with his resignation. Then Arthur delivered the chilling verdict. When Damien wanted something, he either possessed it completely or he destroyed it. The words plunged Leo into an icy dread. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his frantic heart, telling himself that Damien's interest hadn't yet solidified into true obsession. Arthur looked at him calmly, asking again if he wanted to quit. After a moment of heavy thought, Leo insisted that he did. A flicker of something like amusement lit Arthur's eyes as he produced the severance papers. His only parting words were a simple good luck, but they sounded like a curse from the underworld. Leo's hand shook so badly he almost misspelled his own name. On the day he left, he lied to Damien, telling him a family emergency required him to go home for a few days. Damien showed no reaction, didn't even see him off. He just stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of his suite, a silent silhouette watching Leo depart. His expression was placid, Yet Leo felt the unnerving sensation of being targeted by a predator coiled in the shadows. His back went cold. He scrambled into the waiting car and urged the driver to go. After a series of connecting buses and cheap motels, he landed in Port Coral, Florida. It was a world away from the gleaming towers of Manhattan, a place where he wouldn't cross paths with the trust fund crowd he knew. He was hiding from Damien. Arthur's echoed in his mind, fueling a persistent fear. He imagined Damien's men snatching him off the street, imagined being taken, used, and, when he inevitably failed to break, dismembered and scattered in some forgotten swamp. The first day, he didn't leave his rented room. The second, he prowled the perimeter of the building, feeling like a fugitive, nearly getting himself reported to the police for his suspicious behavior. By the third day, after scouting the neighborhood and seeing no signs of surveillance, his courage began to return. He connected with a local contact, a rough-around-the-edges fisherman who got him a job gutting fish on the docks. Life fell into a simple, exhausting rhythm. A month passed. There was no sign of Damien. With the Thorne family's resources, finding him should have been trivial. Leo concluded that a new toy must have caught Damien's eye, and he had been forgotten. But something felt off that evening. He distinctly remembered double-locking his door, but the knob turned with a single twist. His breath hitched. He took one step back and broke into a sprint. In the next instant, the room disgorged a team of men in dark suits. They swarmed him. Leo was a capable fighter, but he was outnumbered and quickly overwhelmed. They bound him and hauled him before the man who had been sitting inside all along, watching the scene unfold with placid detachment. Damien's face was a blank mask, but Leo could feel the rage radiating from him. He kept his head down, unable to guess what was coming next. Damien sat on the dilapidated sofa, swirling a glass of amber liquid. With a flick of his wrist, he dismissed the other men, leaving the two of them alone in the cramped, humid room. His voice was quiet when he finally looked at Leo, commanding him to come and kneel. Leo obeyed, his knees hitting the grimy floor. Damien's lips twisted into a semblance of a smile as he questioned Leo's supposed allergy to alcohol, remarking that he seemed to drink just fine with others. Leo's eyes shot up, his pupils constricting. His situational awareness was excellent. He would have known if he was being followed. Damien seemed to read his mind, tapping his cheek with a condescending lightness. He sneered, reminding Leo that the Thorne family had an arsenal of highly trained security. If he had ordered a sniper to take a shot, Leo wouldn't even know where the bullet came from. He pressed the rim of the glass to Leo's lips and commanded him to drink. Leo refused. He hated alcohol, a revulsion born from the countless bar fights Damien had started, each one ending with Leo taking the blame and the punishment. He had lied about an allergy to avoid it. The drink with the fisherman had been different. The man had vouched for him when the cops were called, had gotten him the job that fed him. He considered Leo a friend. To refuse his offer of a beer would have been an insult. He had to drink it. His mouth remained sealed. Damien didn't press. He set the glass down and placed the heel of his expensive loafer between Leo's thighs, the patterned red sole applying a slow, grinding pressure. Leo clenched his jaw, a fine sheen of sweat breaking out on his forehead as a hot, desperate need began to build within him. Just as he reached a breaking point, Damien withdrew his foot. He nonchalantly opened a sleek silver case. Inside, nestled in velvet, was an array of objects that made Leo's skin crawl. Leo's breathing grew ragged. He asked what Damien intended to do. Damien let out a soft laugh that held no warmth. His long, pale fingers drifted over the items in the case. He stated that he had given Leo a month. A single phone call, even a text message, would have been enough to prevent this. He addressed Leo by his full name, his voice dropping to a silken threat. He offered him another choice in honor of their almost 4 years together. He could either return as his bodyguard, obeying his every command from now on, or he could be played to death in this very room. He told him to pick one. Damien's dark eyes locked with his. Leo looked away, unable to meet that intense gaze. After a few seconds of tense silence, he asked what would happen if he chose neither. A soft click echoed in the room as Damien picked up a black leather collar from the case. He slowly worked the buckle, a cruel smile playing on his lips, saying that if Leo wouldn't choose, he would choose for him. As the collar neared his neck, panic seized Leo. He cried out that he chose the first option. Damien sighed, a sound of theatrical disappointment, but he carefully placed the collar back in its case. He picked up the glass again, took a sip of the drink, then turned it so the spot his lips had touched faced Leo. He watched with open amusement as Leo recoiled. He told him to drink. Compared to the alternative, sharing a little of Damien's saliva seemed insignificant. Leo steeled himself and allowed Damien to tip the liquid into his mouth. A genuine smile finally broke across Damien's face. He called Leo a good boy. He leaned forward and untied the ropes, his touch surprisingly gentle as he tended to the scrapes Leo had sustained in the fight. He whispered that as long as Leo was obedient, he would never let him get hurt. Leo thought it was the biggest lie he had ever heard. Every scar on his body was a gift from Damien Thorne. Back at the Thorne estate, Arthur gave him a knowing look. He offered a rare compliment, remarking that lasting a month on the run was impressive. Leo couldn't tell if the old man was praising his own resilience or Damien's restraint. It didn't matter. His spirit was broken. There was nothing left to hope for. He assumed Damien's demand for obedience meant he'd be forced into his bed, but his duties remained unchanged. Still, a constant, unnerving awareness lingered, a feeling of being watched. Then one day, Damien's older brother, Julian, was summoned to the estate to discuss an arranged marriage. During a smoke break, Leo asked him if he was marrying the heiress to the Quorum group because he loved her. Julian gave a short laugh and shook his head, saying love had nothing to do with it. It was a merger, and neither he nor the woman had any romantic illusions. An idea sparked in Leo's mind. He asked Julian if he could arrange a similar match for Damien, who was 25 and not getting any younger. He reasoned that even a family as powerful as the Thornes had to maintain a certain image. A marriage would force Damien to clean up his personal life, and Leo would be free from this constant state of dread. Julian's hand, holding his cigarette, froze. A wide grin spread across his face as he looked at something over Leo's shoulder. Leo's body went rigid. He didn't dare turn around. He was about to bolt when a hand clamped down on his shoulder. A cold, menacing voice whispered in his ear, instructing him to go to Damien's room, take off his shirt, and kneel until he returned to deal with him. Leo did as he was told, his heart sinking. Defying Damien would only make it worse. 30 minutes later, the door opened and Damien entered, carrying the familiar silver case. Leo's throat went dry. He begged Damien not to do this, pleading that he truly hated it. Seeing Damien with that case confirmed all the rumors. The Thorne estate was a compound of several mansions, and Arthur preferred solitude, his residence far from the main house. Leo had never heard the screams himself, so he'd held onto a sliver of doubt. But watching Damien's practiced handling of the contents, he knew the stories were true, and he knew he had angered him again. This time, Damien wouldn't be so easily placated. Damien ignored his pleas, sitting on the edge of the bed with an air of cold indifference. He gestured to the open case and told him to choose one, or he would choose for him. Terrified, Leo scanned the objects and picked what he thought was the least dangerous: a candle. Damien raised an eyebrow and laughed, a low, unsettling sound as he twirled the candle between his fingers. The laugh made Leo's stomach clench. Before he could ask to change his mind, Damien had lit it with a flick of a lighter. He ordered Leo to kneel between his legs. The humiliation was a physical weight, but Leo had no power to resist. He shuffled forward on his knees until he was positioned before him. Damien tilted the candle. The wax was low temperature, not hot enough to burn, but where it dripped onto yesterday's bruises, it sent an involuntary shudder through him. Damien seemed to do it deliberately, targeting his injuries and other sensitive spots. Leo bit his lip, refusing to make a sound. His silence clearly annoyed Damien. He hooked a foot under Leo's belt and commanded him to take off his pants. Leo's fists clenched at his sides. For the first time, he didn't immediately obey. Damien made a sound of impatience, his voice sharp with displeasure as he repeated the order. A surge of rage shot through Leo, hot and blinding. His eyes burned. He tilted his chin up defiantly and said he would not. The next second, his hair was seized in a tight grip. Damien's face was a mask of fury. He snarled, questioning Leo's audacity to defy him. All the fear and anxiety of the past months coalesced into a single point of incandescent anger. Leo's chest heaved as he roared back, asking what right Damien had to talk about indulgence. He yelled that every scar on his body was because of him, because of his selfish, reckless behavior that always ended with Leo taking the punishment, beaten until his skin split. He threw off Damien's hand, his eyes wild with fury. He shouted that he was done, that he hated these perverse games and that Damien could kill him for all he cared. He found Damien and his toys utterly disgusting. Leo pushed himself to his feet, looking down at the seated, now livid Damien. For the first time, he felt a sense of release. Let death come. At least he would die with his dignity intact. As he turned to leave, his wrist was caught in an iron grip. He was thrown onto the bed, and Damien was on top of him, one hand closing around his throat. Damien's voice was a venomous hiss, asking where Leo got the courage to call him disgusting. The pressure increased, and Leo was sure Damien meant to kill him. Then, just as his vision started to blacken, the grip loosened. Damien laughed, a chilling, joyless sound. He caressed Leo's lips, his tone suddenly gentle. He whispered that if Leo found him disgusting, he would simply have to make Leo just like him, just as dirty, so he could never say that word again. A horrified understanding dawned on Leo. Damien's eyes held a terrifying, manic gleam. This time he was serious. Leo cursed him that if he dared to go through with it, he would never be forgiven. His threats were useless. Damien's mouth came down on his, hard and punishing. His strength was overwhelming, his hands like steel clamps. He forced Leo's clenched teeth apart, his tongue invading, stealing his breath. Leo bit down hard. Damien recoiled with a sharp intake of breath. He stared down at Leo, but what he saw in Leo's eyes was pure, undiluted revulsion. He froze, stunned for a moment, then violently shoved Leo away and screamed at him to get out. Leo scrambled off the bed. As he opened the door, he glanced back and saw Damien sweep the contents of the silver case to the floor. The objects shattered and clattered, a discordant symphony of destruction. Leo knew how much Damien valued those things. He had seen him lock them in a triple-secured safe. To destroy them meant he was beyond enraged. Once he calmed down, Leo would surely be his next target. But he was too tired to run anymore. It was pointless. Damien was the cat, and he was the mouse in a game that only ended when Damien grew bored and delivered the final, fatal blow. He was an orphan with nothing to lose. In the end, everyone ended up as dust. Maybe, he mused, he'd be reincarnated as Damien's son. Then he could really make him pay. With that thought, he fell asleep. He woke in the afternoon, confused that no one had called him for duty. His phone lit up with a notification from the security team group chat. A message from the captain informed him of a position change. Leo Vance, demoted from personal security to general estate guard. His duties were now limited to patrolling the grounds. That was it? He had pushed Damien to the brink, and his only punishment was a demotion? It was completely out of character. Maybe he'd yelled the sense back into him. The new job was a dream. The pay was less, but he was safe and there were no more beatings. He settled into his new role with relish, which seemed to only darken Damien's mood. Every time Damien passed him on the grounds, a wave of palpable cold followed him. 3 days of this peaceful existence passed, and then it ended. He had just turned off his light to sleep when his bedroom door was kicked open. He fumbled for the lamp and saw a drunken Damien stumbling in, his expression thunderous. He sneered at the sight of Leo, warm and comfortable in bed. He said that life seemed to be treating him well these past few days, then accused him of forgetting whose bodyguard he was. He demanded to know why Leo hadn't sought him out, confessing that he'd been thinking of him, going mad with sleepless nights, while Leo slept soundly. Leo didn't know how to respond. He had, in fact, been sleeping better than ever. But there was no reasoning with a drunk. He told Damien he was intoxicated and offered to help him back to his room. As he moved to get up, he somehow triggered the man's temper again. Damien lunged, pinning him to the bed, his face contorted. He laughed bitterly, asking if Leo was really so repulsed by the sight of him. He vowed that Leo would never be free, that they would be together for the rest of their lives. He kicked off his shoes, shrugged off his jacket, and rolled into the covers next to Leo. Leo was too shocked to react at first. When he came to his senses, Damien had his arm around his waist, his face buried in Leo's chest, inhaling his scent. Leo tried to push him away, telling him to go to his own room. Damien's hand shot out and gripped his wrist. His eyes snapped open, dark and deep, a flicker of desire in them. He shifted his hips forward slightly, a suggestive motion, and looked at Leo with a smirk. Him that if he moved again, neither of them would be sleeping that night. He would not be denied a second time. Leo went still. Damien chuckled softly, rewarding his compliance with a pat on the cheek. He called him good, then wrapped him in his arms and fell into a deep sleep. Leo knew then that Damien would never let him go. His peaceful days were over. He was back to being his personal bodyguard. After work, Damien's routine was to go to a bar and cause trouble. The thought of the inevitable beating made Leo flinch, a phantom pain shooting through his jaw. Damien noticed his reaction and beckoned him over. When Leo was close, Damien grabbed his tie, pulling him in until their faces were inches apart. He whispered into his ear, asking if he wanted to avoid the punishment. Leo knew what was coming. Another proposition to be his lover or to use his toys. He remained silent. For once, Damien didn't get angry. He spoke with a strange calmness, asking Leo if he knew why he never listened to his advice, why he courted trouble knowing Leo would pay the price for it. Leo replied flatly that he was just a bodyguard. He had no real authority. He could only offer the tokeness as required by protocol. Eventually, he'd stopped trying. Damien released his tie and leaned back against the plush sofa. He said it was because Leo's words were wrong. His S were always about what the old man would not permit, about how Arthur would be angry. Damien looked up, his beautiful eyes hazy with alcohol, his lips glistening. Leo felt an unexpected thirst. Damien's voice continued, a low murmur. He said that if Leo had used a different approach, if he had said that he was worried Damien would get hurt, or that drinking was bad for his health and he didn't want him to drink, then he would have listened. Damien's expression was completely serious. He stared at Leo, as if waiting, hoping to hear those words now. It wasn't a difficult thing to say, certainly better than a beating. Leo opened his mouth and parroted the words back. He told Damien that drinking was bad for his health, and he didn't want him to drink. Damien smiled, a genuine, happy curve of his lips. His eyes crinkled. He seemed satisfied. He reached out and stroked Leo's face, murmuring that he would listen to him. Then he stood up and left the bar. Leo was stunned. He was just leaving? It was the first time Damien had ever been so compliant. He must be drunker than he thought. Remembering that Damien was scheduled to go skydiving with his friends the next day, Leo decided to press his luck. He added that he was worried Damien would get hurt tomorrow and asked if he could skip the jump. Damien, his hand on the car door, paused. Leo's stomach dropped. He'd overplayed his hand. Damien was just toying with him. He was about to retract the statement when Damien burst out laughing. He liked it, he said. He liked Leo trying to control him. He leaned in close, his lips hovering a fraction of an inch from Leo's, his eyes bright. He told Leo to keep managing him just like this. In the soft glow of the city lights, with Damien so uncharacteristically docile, Leo felt for the first time that perhaps Damien Thorne wasn't so detestable after all. At Julian's engagement party, held on a private island the Thornes owned, Damien surprisingly gave Leo leave to explore. He explained it was where his parents had married and was off-limits to outsiders except for family events like this. He told Leo he should see it now because the next chance might not come for a long time. He trailed off, leaving the thought unfinished. Surrounded by a legion of other guards, Leo figured Damien would be safe enough and took the opportunity. He had barely reached the grand staircase when his path was blocked by Scarlett Devereux, the woman who had reportedly been obsessed with Damien for a decade. She stood with her arms crossed, her chin high, demanding to know his relationship with Damien, questioning why the staff said they slept in the same bed every night. Leo felt a flush of embarrassment. After that first night, Damien had insisted they continue sleeping together. Leo had refused, until the night Damien taught him how to manage him. That night, Damien had once again wheedled his way into his bed, and for some reason, Leo hadn't been able to say no. They had slept in the same bed ever since, though nothing had ever happened between them. Seeing his silence, Scarlett grew agitated, accusing him of being nothing more than a bodyguard who'd managed to climb into her Damien darling's bed, an insignificant plaything. Seeing the angry blush on her cheeks, Leo offered a rare piece of sincere advice. He told her they had no relationship, and that she should find someone else to love. Damien, he said, was not a good man. He wasn't suitable for her, not just because of the rumors, but because of his fundamental nature. If it were purely a business merger, he would have kept his mouth shut. But this young woman was clearly emotionally invested. Scarlett sneered, accusing him of trying to get rid of her so he could have Damien to himself. She declared it would never happen, then announced her plan to throw herself down the stairs and blame him, ensuring Damien would despise him. As she prepared to fall backward, Leo grabbed her arm and pointed upward toward a security camera. Scarlett flushed, pulling her arm away, stammering that she knew it was there and was just trying to scare him off. Seeing her frantic desperation, an idea took hold of Leo. He suggested they cooperate. He led her to a heated indoor pool he'd noticed earlier, not far from the main hall. He explained that falling downstairs was risky. She could end up seriously hurt. The pool was a safer stage. He told her if she wanted to frame him, she should say he pushed her in. Once she was in the water and screamed, people would come running. She looked at him with suspicion, asking why he would help her. He replied that it was mutually beneficial. He wanted to escape Damien, and her plan could help him. She smirked, remarking that he was a fool for wanting to leave someone as wonderful as Damien. Leo just shook his head. If she knew they slept together, she must have known about the other rumors. Yet she persisted. At first, he thought it was love, but it didn't add up. She knew Damien hated interference. Her obsessive pursuit would only earn his contempt. The truth dawned on him. She was a pawn for her family, being married off to Damien for their benefit. She had no choice, and she clearly despised him. Otherwise, she wouldn't be using Leo to engineer her own downfall. As she carefully lowered herself into the pool, he wished them both good luck in getting what they wanted. She looked up at him, and as their eyes met, a small smile touched her lips. She must have realized he'd figured it out. Leaning against the edge of the pool, she spoke softly, saying that if he actually liked Damien, they would make a good pair. At least Damien wouldn't be cruel to him. She confessed she had once been fooled by his handsome face, only to discover the monster beneath. He had taken her to the world's most terrifying haunted house and left her there until she was on the verge of a psychotic break. He had put snakes in her bed and threatened to throw her into a pit of them if she ever bothered him again. He would have done it too, if she hadn't begged Arthur for help. His cruelty to men was even worse. They often left his rooms bleeding and barely conscious. Once she knew his true nature, she told her family she wouldn't marry him, but they threatened her mother's life to force her compliance. So she spent 10 years pretending to love Damien while secretly arranging to move her mother safely out of the country. Leo's eyes widened in disbelief. He had thought Damien's darkness was confined to his sexual proclivities, not that he was a full-blown sadist. Scarlett looked at him with a wry amusement, asking if he was surprised. She said Damien had mellowed in the years Leo had been with him, which was why she dared to continue her act. Her goal today was to make her family see she was no longer a useful pawn, so she and her mother could finally be free. Leo was silent for a long moment before reassuring her that he had checked, and there were no cameras here. Their performance would be flawless. A look of gratitude crossed Scarlett's face. She thanked him. Then came the screams for help. The commotion drew people from the ballroom. They arrived to see Leo standing by the edge of the pool while Scarlett thrashed in the water. People jumped in to rescue her. Others stood back and watched. Suddenly, Leo was kicked to the ground. Before he could get up, a voice thick with rage cut through the air, belonging to Scarlett's brother, who was told his arrogance was astounding for daring to touch Damien's bodyguard. Damien's face was thunderous, his eyes blazing. He swept his gaze across the crowd, and everyone shrank back. Those who knew him recognized the signs of his fury. The Devereux family was no match for the Thorns. Even in the right, they would have to swallow their pride. Damien helped Leo to his feet, his hands gently probing his side. He remarked that at least no ribs were broken, then chided Leo for being a fool, for just standing there and letting someone kick him, asking where his usual defiance was. Before Leo could speak, Scarlett, now pulled from the water, pointed a shaking finger at him and cried that he had pushed her. Damien turned a glacial, menacing stare on her. He told her that he had no problem silencing people who made false accusations. Scarlett flinched but held her ground, insisting she wasn't lying. She claimed Leo was jealous of her, that he knew their families were discussing marriage. Damien laughed, a cold, humorless sound. He asked her when exactly she had ever stood by his side. He mused that his recent good behavior must have made people forget what he was capable of. As Damien was about to escalate, Leo quickly interjected. He said he did it, that she was telling the truth. Damien's head snapped toward him, his expression one of furious disbelief. He ordered him through gritted teeth to say it again. Leo lowered his head, unable to look at him, but his voice was steady as he repeated that he had pushed her. He confessed he had heard they would be married soon and had lost his head. His words were cut off as his jaw was seized in a painful grip. Damien forced his head up, his own eyes burning with a terrible fire. He ground out the words, asking if Leo was really so determined to leave him. In that public setting, the reason for Leo's confession was obvious to Damien. By admitting to attacking the future mistress of the house out of jealousy, Leo would surely be dismissed by the Thorne family to appease the Devereaux. Even if Damien tried to keep him, it would be impossible. Damien's eyes were red, shimmering with what looked like tears. He seemed more hurt than angry. A strange ache bloomed in Leo's chest. He didn't understand it, but he knew what he wanted, to be free of Damien. He pushed aside the pain and spoke each word with deliberate clarity. He told Damien yes, he did not want to stay with him, and begged him to let him go. Damien erupted in wild laughter. He grabbed Leo's collar, his eyes crazed. He hissed that Leo must be dreaming. Then, ignoring the stunned onlookers, he began dragging Leo away, toward the dark woods at the edge of the property. Damien's state was dangerously unstable. Images of unsolved murders flashed through Leo's mind. What he can't have, he destroys. Was this it? Was Damien going to destroy him now? A wave of regret washed over him. He shouldn't have provoked him. He knew he was a madman, so why did he believe Damien wouldn't hurt him? Maybe it was the light punishment before, or Scarlett's comment that Damien wouldn't be cruel to him. He had miscalculated badly. He began to struggle, not wanting to be another one of Damien's broken, bleeding victims. He cried out that he was wrong, that he was sorry, begging him not to be angry. Damien stopped abruptly. He slammed Leo against a tree and kissed him, a brutal, punishing kiss meant to vent all his rage. Leo didn't dare fight back. He opened his mouth and let him in. The kiss went on for a long time, until Leo's lips were numb. When Damien finally pulled away, Leo sagged against the tree, gasping for air. Damien stood before him, looking down at him for a long moment. He asked him one last time if he really wanted to leave. Leo was afraid to provoke him further, but he couldn't bring himself to lie. He didn't love Damien. But as he looked at the raw hope in Damien's eyes, he suddenly thought that maybe staying by his side wouldn't be so bad after all. His silence was taken as an answer. Damien let out a bitter laugh and stepped back. He told Leo to go, to get out of his sight and never come back. Then he turned and walked out of the woods. His back looked strangely lonely, inspiring an unexpected pang of sympathy. Leo followed a few paces behind him, his mind in a daze. This was the best outcome, wasn't it? Halfway back to the main house, Damien suddenly lunged toward him. Leo was shoved to the ground. A gunshot cracked the night air. Damien collapsed in a pool of blood. Leo's mind went blank. After a moment that stretched into an eternity, a piercing scream tore from his throat. The bullet was meant for him, fired by someone from the Devereaux family who saw him as an obstacle to the merger. Damien had taken it for him. The Devereaux family was ruined. Scarlett was on a plane overseas by dawn. Leo spent days camped outside the hospital, but Damien refused to see him. He sent a message through a guard, asking why Leo was still hanging around when he was supposed to be gone. It was the 10th day since the shooting. The senior guard, a man Leo now knew was Julian's bodyguard on loan to Damien, shook his head. He told Leo that Damien still wouldn't see him. It all made sense now how Damien had known his every move. The Thorne brothers shared nothing, especially not their security detail. The senior guard offered him a cigarette. He asked why Leo was still there when he'd gotten what he wanted. Leo leaned against the hospital wall, his legs drawn up. He asked the guard if he would believe him if he said he realized he loved Damien on the day he almost died. The guard looked at him, completely bewildered, and asked if he had a thing for dead people. Leo knew how ridiculous it sounded. But as Damien lay in the operating room, his life hanging by a thread, Leo had suddenly felt that without him, the world held nothing of value. He didn't know when or why his feelings had changed. And now that Damien was awake, he had him thrown out, refusing to let him near. Sleepless nights followed, and Leo finally understood how Damien must have felt. It was in that moment of rejection that he knew for certain. He was in love with Damien Thorne. Though Damien, he suspected, was only in love with his body. Why else the obsession with his toys? His body. An idea sparked. He asked the senior guard if he could use the restroom. He knew he wouldn't be allowed into Damien's ward anyway, so he had to make Damien want to see him. When he came out, he handed his phone to the guard. He told him it contained something extremely important, that the password was 234561, and that he needed to give it to Damien immediately, stressing its urgency. The guard was skeptical but complied. Less than 3 minutes later, he came running back, his face pale. He said Damien wanted Leo to get his ass in there right now, then looked at Leo with genuine concern, asking if he was sure he'd be okay. Damien had looked like he wanted to kill someone. Leo just smiled and said it would be fine. Damien loved his body more than his soul, after all. He knocked on the door to Damien's private room. A furious roar from inside commanded him to get in. He entered to find Damien glaring at him, his face a mask of rage. He demanded to know what kind of photos Leo had been taking, asking if he was so desperate after just a few days apart. He raged about what would have happened if someone else had seen them. Leo rushed to his side, gently patting his chest, urging him not to get upset and reopen his wound. Damien gritted his teeth, saying it was Leo's fault he was angry. Leo cut him off, assuring him that no one else had seen them and pleading with him to calm down, because it would hurt him if the wound tore open. Soothing him worked just as Damien had taught him it would. He had given Leo the instruction manual for his own heart. Damien's anger subsided, but he was still nursing his grudge. He asked Leo what this was all about when he had been so determined to leave. Leo shook his head and said he wasn't leaving. He confessed he'd discovered he couldn't be without Damien, that he couldn't sleep at all when they were apart. Damien's tone was sarcastic as he shot back that he was sure Leo had been sleeping just fine, probably snoring loud enough to shake the walls. Leo threw his arms around him and insisted it was true, that he wasn't used to sleeping without Damien holding him. A soft snort escaped him. He was completely mollified. He picked up the phone and deleted the photos, then ordered Leo never to take pictures like that again. Leo nodded, then said with some embarrassment that he had thought Damien preferred his body, and that it was the only way he could think of to get to see him. Suddenly, his chin was tilted up. Damien's expression was displeased. He asked what Leo meant by that. He said if it were only about his body, he never would have let him go that night. He asked if Leo had any idea how much self-control it took not to force him. If all he wanted was sex, he would have played with him until he broke, using every toy in his collection for his own pleasure. without a single thought for whether Leo enjoyed it or even survived. Leo stared at him, stunned. He asked why he was different. Damien stroked his head, a nostalgic look in his eyes. He recounted a memory from 3 years ago, when Leo had just started working for the family. Damien had come to his father's birthday, and Leo, seeing him as some innocent, sheltered rich boy, had earnestly warned him about the Tibetan mastiffs his father kept. Damien had found it amusing and played along, telling Leo he was terrified of dogs. And Leo, without a second thought, had hoisted him onto his back and carried him toward the main house, promising that he would protect him. It was the first time anyone had ever promised to protect him. They were nearly the same age, yet Leo had taken on that role. It had made Damien incredibly happy. That was why he had taken Leo from his father. Over time, his affection grew, but then Leo heard the rumors and became afraid of him. Damien had gotten angry and acted out, trying to provoke a reaction, any reaction, as long as it was about him. All Leo ever had to do was show he cared, and Damien would have been his. Leo was still trying to process the reason when a pang of insecurity hit him. He asked if Damien would fall for anyone who showed him the same kindness. He knew he was being greedy, but he wanted all of Damien's life, not just a chapter. Damien laughed and pulled him into a deep, wet kiss. When they broke apart, he told Leo there would be no one else. He asked if he remembered the island, saying he had wanted Leo to get familiar with the layout before their engagement, so he wouldn't be flustered. He had already planned their whole life together. He told Leo to stop calling him sir, and to call him Damien. Leo smiled. "All right, Damien,"